Welcome to another edition of PEP Talk. I'm your host, Rosie Peppy Parke, and I'm delighted to have tonight's guests, the Wright sisters, Nicole and Fiona Wright of Caribbean Vibes Radio. Stay tuned. This is going to be one you don't want to miss.
CaribbeanVibesRadio.com. Jamming the best reggae, soca, dancehall, and more.
So, Brother Peru, thank you so much for coming to the show.
To be in these places at the time that. So yeah, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Hear what happened now? I told you the Jamaican accent was going to come out. Right. I'd love to be able to name all the bands, and I can't. But I know I'm going to miss.
You've been called selfless, you've been called kind, loving, all kinds of stuff. We know you're passionate about. Talk about your little 10-month-old son.
Yeah.
Talk about that, your pride and joy.
I love my son. His name is Jawari, and he was born on Christmas Day. He's one.
Okay, so I have two of you, so I'm a little confused. I'm going to ask general questions first, starting with the elder sister.
That would be
Nikki. That would be Nikki, right? Okay, let's just start with Nikki anyway. You're Jamaican American.
Jamaican.
You're Jamaican. So you are. Talk about that. Where are you from?
Born Washington D.C. Howard University. That's pretty much it. I mean, I just kind of jumped into their life. Just jumped in.
But your parents are Jamaicans, right?
Yeah, they are Jamaicans, and it's funny she said jumped in because we all moved, we meaning my mom and my dad and my brother, moved here to in the States 1982. A year later, she comes along.
So we know how old she is.
Yeah.
83.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're a few years apart.
A few?
Okay, just a few years apart.
And you were born in London, England, or somewhere, right?
I was born in England, yes. You can tell by my
you're
accent,
British,
right?
You're Brit.
I am a Brit, yes.
Where's the accent?
Well, I'm Jam English American, as I like to tell people. The accent is there. And I'm sure throughout this interview, you will hear a combination. Sometimes it goes British, and sometimes it goes like a Jamaican, depends on what you talk about.
Right.
And then, and then, American. So, it's blended.
Okay, so more importantly, Caribbean Vibes Radio. You're both not born in Jamaica, but if you have Jamaican parents, you're essentially Jamaicans.
Right.
Tell me about the whole inspiration for a Caribbean Vibes Radio, Fiona.
Well, it's actually about 6 years ago. I found myself, I wasn't working at the time, and I've always loved reggae music. I mean, oh gosh, ever since I was a little girl in Jamaica, 6, 7 years old, I remember dancing and entertaining the family. Just loved this music called reggae. And so, living here in the States, I've kept close to my roots, especially with the music. And so I wasn't working. I met two gentlemen who started an internet radio station. And I went to them and I said, hey, when are you going to do something reggae? Because it was jazz and it was gospel. I love jazz and gospel, but I was like, hey, why not do something reggae? They turned around and said to me, well, what do you know about reggae? I said, well, I love it. And they're like, well, why don't you do something? So that was the beginning, I went and did some research and tried to figure out if people would want to listen to a reggae genre internet radio station online. I mean, I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
So that was the beginning.
And was Nikki, were you involved from the inception stages of Caribbean Vibes Radio?
I was there from the beginning. We know that it all kind of started off when we noticed that the DC area was just, reggae was just... we knew New York was like big on reggae. We couldn't figure out why just 4 hours driving we can't get the same type of vibe here. So I think that's where most of the inspiration came from. It's really that we wanted something in the area.
And so how difficult or challenging was it for you to launch an internet radio station? Now we're in the age of internet radio station. 6 years ago, internet was still big. So there was a lot of other people who were doing things that were internet based with the hope of reaching a more worldwide audience. Talk about that whole process, starting the business, conceptualizing, you want to hear reggae because that's in your blood. And how did you go about setting up this whole thing that now you have this thing 6 years later?
Well, in the beginning, as I mentioned, two gentlemen I met, Reg and Cleveland, they started the internet station, and so I didn't know much about it. Like as far as the technology, it wasn't that difficult, but the point is you can't just jump into something not knowing, And so I pretty much learned from them anywhere from, where to get the music. I worked in radio before, but it was more on the advertising end. But I understood programming, and I figured that it had to be set up in such a way that people would want to listen. I didn't want to have just 1 hour bashment program, because that's what existed.
Right.
And so, tune in and party and, and I'm not against that, but the point was I wanted something that had more of a format. So I kind of borrowed from, I grew up in Jamaica, so I kind of borrowed from the programming there in Jamaica, where, I don't know if you remember on Sundays, it was, when you could smell the chicken and the rice and peas and the carrot juice, and then there was Sunday serenade in the background, the nice, easy listening. So that's kind of what I did with the Sunday program. Gospel, Sunday serenade-ish, very laid back, reggae, jazz. During the week, same thing. People listening from the office. So there was some thought that was put into it. I found someone who I thought understood the music. Big ups to Paul Mack.
Fab this job.
Yes, Fab this job. Yes. And we had a conversation about this. There were other DJs that I talked to as well. But we sat down and I told him about what I was looking for. And it gave him a chance to dust off some of that music that he had in his vault. And, so that helped a lot. So as far as programming, then of course you have to think of it's a business. How are you going to support it? So that's where the advertising and the marketing element came in as well. So
okay. And Nikki, what is your role? I mean, you're obviously one of the founding partners. What is it that you do at Caribbean Vibes Radio?
Well, when Fiona first initially started off, I was like I was a sophomore in college.
Right.
So a lot of the times we would go to New York and we would network with a lot of already known radio personalities and with all of them. So right now more handles a lot of the events and things like that on the back end of she has another promotional end of the Reggae
Right,
Tuesday.
we're going to talk about that afterwards. So, I know that you used, what I liked about Caribbean Vibes Radio is that they have a DJ that's in Italy. They had a DJ that was in another state in Texas. And the programming was, diverse in the sense of the kind of personalities who you had hosting the show and doing the various programming. Your motto is catch it, feel it, and it's 24 hours.
Right.
What's the concept behind that? Where did that come from?
Well, you'll probably hear the word vibe a lot. And during even the slogan, and it's Caribbean Vibes Radio.
Right.
Vibe culturally for us, it's about a feeling. It's about something, when you're describing something, it's inspiration. And so in developing even the radio programming, including all the different personalities, the different DJs, bringing in their cultural experience, because, DJ Guzmati in Italy he loves reggae. We all are passionate about reggae, but we also have different backgrounds that we lend to the music and the culture. So when you put all the main ingredients together and bubble it up together, you get this nice thing called vibe.
Right.
And so the catch it, feel it, that's the part where I like to tell people whatever we get into, we want them to, it's kind of like a fever. We want them to catch it and feel it, and hopefully, it stays with you.
And then I know also, apart from the whole music thing that you do, that you stream online 24/7, you cover a lot of events, you do a lot of interviews. Nicole, I've seen you at a lot of shows. It's kind of like, I'm not the only one who is everywhere. Caribbean Vibes Radio is actually everywhere too. All the big shows, they represent a lot of artists that come here. I know you have something going on with VP Records. You send out all kinds of records. You're managing Monsoon, formerly from Storm. Tell me about your most memorable interview with a reggae giant. Who was it and why?
Ooh. All right. I have to pause that one.
Okay, you want to think about it?
The pause
So
already.
many.
There might be
All right, so you, tell me about yours.
You know what? This one particular experience that I had was not so much an interview per se, but Gregory Isaacs.
Yeah.
When
The
I
late
met him,
and
the
great
late and
Gregory
great
Isaacs.
Gregory Isaacs.
And I was unfortunate to witness that.
Yeah.
You were there too?
I wasn't
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister wasn't there, but I had an opportunity. It was after his show. And generally, when I meet a lot of artists, I'm very careful about getting into their space. You know, there's some artists that are funny, that they kind of want to hold a vibe before they get on the show. So sometimes they don't want to talk to you before the show. And sometimes after the show, they're tired.
Right.
So it's kind of, I was at the right place at the right time where I had an opportunity to vibe with the late, great Gregory Isaacs. Actually went to his room. It was just a few of us. It was an intimate gathering. And, you know, sat next to him and we were just talking. And I had a chance to tell him, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I was shaking. And usually when I meet artists, I mean, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know, they're human. They're just
You
like
meet a
us.
lot
You
of
know,
them, right?
yeah, I meet a lot of them. But when I met him, I knew that was special. And, you know, and I said, thank you so much for what you've done with reggae. And it means so much. And he goes, da 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 da. Oh, and he just chanted for that moment. And I captured some of it on tape. And we have a wonderful Caribbean Vibes radio jingle that I play. I still play it now, and I still have a picture. And I'm shaking now because it was just one of those moments that I knew was special. I've seen him after, and I've actually not had an interview since because I didn't want to forget that moment.
That moment. And, you know, Gregory Isaacs, the cool ruler, passed very, very recently. I think it was October 25th.
Correct.
To be exact. And his music lives on and on. When we come back, we're going to talk to the Wright sisters about one of the affiliate things that they're doing, a branch off from Caribbean Vibes Radio. Their very popular Reggae Tuesdays event at Carolina Kitchen in Hyattsville that is approaching 1 year. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I never put no one above you. That's all I wanna do. Squeeze and hug you. I love you forever, never so let it be. And the man soon I say, you know I want shit. Yeah, you know shit. I will keep on loving you till the end of time. Be my best friend or my boo, whether rain or shine. I will keep on loving you till the end of time. Be my best friend or my boo, whether rain or it's a pleasure that I would treasure to see us go out together. Forever, separation never. Oh, I love no one could ever measure. Knowing for each other, so we do
And we're back, and of course we're talking to the lovely Fiona and the lovely don't shoot me, Nicole Wright of Caribbean Vibes Radio. And you know, they will actually be celebrating 6 years of Caribbean Vibes Radio, November of 2010. And so the spin-off event that they do, which is called Reggae Tuesdays, which is an event that's held at Carolina Kitchen in Hyattsville with live reggae bands, just live music all day long, a lot of networking and stuff. They're getting upon their anniversary is going to be held at that venue. And we want Nikki to tell us a little bit about the whole Reggae Tuesday concept. Why a Reggae Tuesday? I mean, you are already giving us music 24/7 on the radio. Why did you decide to do a weekly event showcasing live bands?
Well, it's actually a live feel. You know, that's what it is. You hear the music on the internet. It's not. You can't get the same vibe as you would as having a live band. So we rotate bands every week, every Tuesday, and we also will have special guests that will come in, and it's just a time to lime, a time to really relax from a day's of work and stress and whatever is going on. You just come in, don't worry about anything, you just chill, and the environment is just so positive that it just becomes reoccurring, and it's actually an addiction, right? You know? So it's something you have to come to.
Yeah, and I have obviously been to Reggae Tuesdays. I can tell you what I do like about it, you're right, is the live element. And so they pretty much use all the more popular reggae bands and DJ. Tell us about working with these bands. How do you go about sourcing the bands and the whole process of getting the bands to agree to this week and the promotion leading it up to that event?
Yeah, well, again, we do work with area bands in Washington, D.C. My rotation was around 7 or 8 bands. I've kind of narrowed it down just a little bit. It's based on a couple of elements. Number one, this is a business. And so in addition to the bands having to be actually being popular and being skilled, we also want to make sure that they have equity as far as bringing people into the spot. You know, at the end of the day, you know, when I go to the owner, or even if I don't go to the owner, I want to make sure that, yeah, people are having a great time. And they're also extending the brand of Reggae Tuesday so that people get that nice feel when they come in. But also, they have the popularity where they're bringing in people as well. So we love the fact that, number one, the bands really, I respect them and they respect me. And it's nice. It's a nice partnership. It gives them an additional place to profile their talent as well, you know? So. And
some of the bands that you've used on Reggae Tuesday are?
Oh, gosh, you know, you're going to get me in trouble, you know, because no. I told you the Jamaican accent was going to come out. I'd love to be able to name all the bands, and I can. But I know I'm going to miss one and get in trouble. But no, really, the nice thing that we do, I also set up a blog site, reggaetuesdays.com. And so I do try to put the name of the different bands on that site, so people can go to that site and kind of check out who they are.
Okay, so she's not gonna remember everybody, but I've been there, so I know she's had Storm, Proverbs, Passion, Strikers. She's remembering now.
Yardling.
Yardling. I mean, a lot of reggae bands. The fact of the matter is that every week, Image Band, of course.
Yes.
Every week is different. It's a live element. Each of these bands bring a different dynamic to the event, and the patrons themselves. I mean, absolutely. I know you have a lot of repeat customers.
Yes.
I have a big fan that I want to talk about. Tell us about some of your repeat customers who help you to spread the word. Because we know, you know, when you're just starting off, you start a thing and people don't really hear about it. And it's not being held at a Caribbean restaurant.
Right. I'm glad
it's a restaurant that serves Southern cuisine. So to get Caribbean people to come out to such a restaurant has to be a feat. So talk about how you go about promoting to get people out.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, Carl Malcolm as well.
They're all coming to me. I told you we'd get in trouble.
One of them
no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And since we're talking of bands, I'm going to answer your question. But we did have New Kingston that came down from New York.
Yeah.
You know?
For the anniversary. That was pretty hot.
You know, like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to think of somebody else, and we have special guests that come through.
But to answer your question, reggae music in a Southern cuisine restaurant, it was a crazy concept. On a Tuesday, it was a crazy concept, but it was just something that the owner was willing to take a risk on. We asked him to a ridiculous question to just use one of his slower nights. He gave us 2. We picked Tuesday, and with his help, we've developed it to this standard, and he's loving it.
He's loving it,
and everyone's loving it. So,
and of course, naturally, I've been to Reggae Tuesdays. I'm telling you, it's really nice. I'm not endorsing anything, I can't. But seriously, it's a really, really, really good vibe. I mean, and you find a good mix of people. It's not just all Caribbean people. It's American people who want to learn more about the reggae culture too. And how do you feel about bringing something on a Tuesday night that's like kind of a dead night. You know,
Yeah.
people
Right,
don't, Tuesday night is not a popular night for especially Caribbean people to go out.
Yeah.
And then seeing it grow, because I know you had an anniversary in May or something, I believe, and you're approaching 2 years. I mean, a personal accomplishment. How you feel about that?
You know what? I love the idea, and it was actually a challenge. When I approached the owner, I said to him, I said, you know, give us a slow night, Monday or Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. I thought Reggae Tuesday to me had a ring to it. And you know, it was just one of those things where I didn't have anything else to compare it with.
Right.
Again, like we said, it's on a Tuesday, a Southern cuisine restaurant, right? And started in May, which was one of the rainiest months of that year. And so all the cars were stacked up where this shouldn't work. But then it's like anything else, and I've learned a lot from this particular project. It's like anything else. When you truly believe in something and you're passionate about it, come rain or hail, you know, and the challenges bunks you down and you jump back up. And I remember having meetings like every Tuesday night, meetings with the owner telling him, this is going to work.
Right.
6, 7 people sitting in the corner, right? And telling him this is going to work was tough. Trust me, it was at some point tears.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Yeah. And I also want to say, the thing about you sticking to something that you have a gut feeling about is very important, because I've seen that from Reggae Tuesdays, you have something else going on in Virginia. Talk about that. Because I think Reggae Tuesday, well, I'm thinking, maybe you can tell us, that was kind of like the inspiration or the pole vault from which to jump to something else, because you have reggae now in Virginia. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, picked up another location, and this was during the summer. We've actually halted it now. But yeah, picked up another venue, K2 Restaurant and Lounge in Virginia, to do live music. There's another location coming. I'm not going to give a whole lot of details about it, but in Silver Spring, so stay tuned for that. The whole idea, again, is I love live music. And so having live music and having a stage to do that is a wonderful thing, and working with owners who are willing to work with you, because it's not an overnight success thing.
Right. And so we're about to close, but we want to say that I have noticed that you have a lot of very popular reggae acts who actually pass through Reggae Tuesdays. It's like they're coming to DC for a particular event, and somehow them hear about Reggae Tuesdays, and tada, they're a special guest.
Come hang out.
I know you're coming up to an anniversary event in November, and you have a special guest. Quickly, who is that guest, and how did you get him to be able to pass through Reggae Tuesdays?
You ready to sing?
Who is it?
Yeah, Pressure has a concert coming.
Pressure bus pipe.
Pressure bus.
Okay.
The love and affection.
And this is actually this will be his second pass through to the kitchen. I mean, he loves the vibe. I mean, and even gets to the point where the owner is trying to accommodate for those who. Well, he already has vegetarian meals, but you know, like jerk chicken and those things that that he works to put together. So, but him and Monsoon will be there as well. Who is a independent artist at the moment. So
And I know, quickly, as we spoke about Monsoon, I know you're also you have actually delved into the whole artist management thing.
I have.
And you're all over the place, right? Multifaceted. And so quickly, tell us, how has it been working with Monsoon? A lot of us know Monsoon from Storm Reggae Band, and I know he's a Jamaican. He had a stint back in Jamaica back in the day. And how challenging or not so challenging is it for you to work with Monsoon as an independent artist who is also a part of a band?
Yeah, it's challenging, but he also understands the movement and what he wants. So it's he's in the driver's seat as far as, okay, this is what he's very clear on what he wants, and he's talented. So yeah, there are challenges moving from a band to an independent artist and taking that movement internationally. So again, That's probably another segment. Hopefully we can come back for another show.
Hey. I mean, they're actually begging me to come back on the show, so we have to try and accommodate that. But I just want to say it was my pleasure to speak with the Wright sisters. You know, when ladies like us get together, it can't done, as Shabba says. So we're going to have a segment too, but I just want to let you know, if you want to know more about Caribbean Vibes Radio, it's simply CaribbeanVibesRadio.com, and that's VIBES, the typical way you spell vibes. And if you want to visit Reggae Tuesdays at Carolina Kitchen to get some nice live music, some serious, authentic reggae band, ReggaeTuesdays.com. That is every Tuesday from 7 to midnight. So if you have to go to work the next day, just don't drink too much. It will be fun. And we want to say thanks again to Fiona and Nicole Wright for coming on our show. And I know there are big things ahead, so stay tuned, keep it locked, and we'll fill you in on what's to come with the Wright sisters. Thank you for watching.
This is Greg Isaacs, and you're tuning into the Caribbean Vibes Radio. You understand? Just keep it locked.